I'm Amy.
And I'm Laura.
And we are Two Paper Girls.
Today we're going to do a bit of a different discussion video. We've done a few of these in the past. We really enjoy them, and recently we had an interesting conversation about losing motivation, specifically for reading books, but also kind of for things in general, when someone else does it. This came about because we were talking about how rubbish I am with reading book series, and how Amy's bought Queen of Shadows and she's reading it, and she partly bought it because I've been a bit of a cow and been like, you're not borrowing my book, I'm reading this book first. And that was kind of petty of me and a bit silly, but it's partly because when I got into the Mortal Instruments series, I told Amy and Robin, my boyfriend, about them, and they were like, I want to read it, so I was like, lend out all the books. But then they went out on ahead and finished the series because I'm really slow with them, it wasn't really a priority. And they both finished the series, they talked about it and were just raved about it. And because they'd read it, it kind of made me lose motivation to read it, because I was like, they have done the reading on my behalf, I don't need to read this series anymore. And then it just my motivation for reading it went down so much. That's kind of why for Throwing a Glass I was like, no, I want to read them first, because if you guys read them first, I'm just never going to get to them.
I also think it works well for TV shows, because Laura watches a lot of TV. And you always tell me oh, Ugly Betty, it's oh, you love it, and you love How I Met Your Mother, and you love Jane the Virgin, and I'm just like, yeah, but you love that stuff.
Yeah.
And I've got no motivation to watch it ever.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is about it when you tell me something that you enjoy and that I'd enjoy, that you've already got to the end of.
Yeah.
I just don't want to restart that bandwagon, it's happened, it's done, I missed it, and everything's fine. I don't want to rehash things, but I also don't want to, what if I hated something Laura loved that's been a thing?
That's true.
I don't want to be a cause of contention,
I definitely have that with book series. We don't very often read the same books. Most of the series we're reading are different, the authors we like are different. Even though we kind of have such similar tastes, we're always equally interested in the same things. But you've read A Court of Mist and Fury and gone ahead with that series. Obviously you've read Matt Haig and Andrew Smith and all these authors I also really want to read, but it's because you've done it, I don't need to anymore. It's kind of that thing I've seen going around YouTube, some people talking about it with if you tell someone about an idea you have for a project, just everyone goes, oh, what a great idea, and gives you a pat on the back. And because you've had that satisfaction from people saying it was a good idea, you never do it because it's you've had the reward. I think that's partly what I'm with buying books. It's buying it is halfway to reading it. So I'm we really want to buy it, and once I buy it, it's oh, I kind of lose motivation unless I read it straight away. So it's kind of one of those things where it's well, I've achieved this goal through you, so now I don't need to.
I think that's a big thing as well. When I've bought books in the past, say for example, I bought a book called Night Owls, and I bought a book called Mosquito Land, which had huge hype on BookTube, and then I didn't read it while the hype was happening, and now I just don't want to read it because I'm well, I feel like I have. I feel like it's not going to give me any more of what I wanted initially from it. But also I think it just happens generally in life. I've noticed that, I just thought about this. Generally in life, apart from if you're that sort of person, generally siblings, I've noticed, if the first sibling goes to university, the second sibling tends to not.
Oh,
although sometimes...
Not for me and my brother.
Yeah, not for you guys and not for Lewis and Steph, but people... I've noticed in families where it depends more on what kind of person you are, obviously. But I think that's generally with everything. If you see someone else do it, and then it's easier to make your mind up, especially if someone's close to you.
Yeah.
It depends on their experience as well. If they've had a good experience, you'll be more likely to do it. But then with books and TV, if they've had a good experience, you're more likely to want to find your own good experiences.
Yeah.
With music as well. If someone really likes a band, unless you really care about that person and want to enjoy it with them, you're more likely to find out your own band and then tell them, because then you're the one that's recommended it, and then you just get the satisfaction that Laura's talking about.
I think there's more joy in discovering things yourself, and then they feel like your thing. So when it's someone else's thing, you're kind of well, that's yours. I don't want that because I've got my own stuff and you've got your stuff, and it's just really strange. And this is something we've done for years. I've never read the Gone series, and you've been talking about that for 6 years. And I read the first book, and I did actually really like it, but again, it was a long series, big book, so I didn't really have the motivation. But even we've always talked about books, and we don't really read the same books very often. There's only a handful of books I can think we've both read in the same year that aren't for uni. We both read fangirl, or like I'm catching up on the Mortal Instruments and Throne of Glass and things, but there's really not very many.
Very weird.
Yeah, like you've just read The Art of Racing in the Rain, and it sounds amazing, like it's narrated by a dog and I would love it, and you say I would love it and I'm like, I know I would, but it's like I don't have any motivation to read it, like at all. I think it happens more with people you're close to, definitely. Like I think if it's more of an obscure recommendation from someone else, you're more likely to go, because it still kind of feels like you're discovering it for yourself. Like if a booktuber mentions a book and then you add it to your Goodreads and you get it and you read it, it's like you're not super close to that booktuber probably, so it's like feels less personal. When it's people you're really close to, like me and Amy, or like our boyfriends or family members, if they're like, read this thing or watch this thing, or my mum does it as well. My dad will be like, you love this series, like to my mum, and she's like, cool. And that's that.
So that was just our little thoughts on that strange little discussion.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a random one, but it's because it's a thing that we've been really thinking about recently, and we've actually seen it in action with all the books that we've been reading. So yeah, let us know what you think and just join in on this discussion, because we're really interested to see what you have to say.
We'll see you on the next video.
Bye!